Hello, it's time for the weekly wrap-up. I am here half an hour earlier today because we have so much going on and I have meetings. So, so you bear with me that I'm here early today. I'm going to move some of this cat stuff out of the way here. We have a lot of cat updates today, but I'm going to wait for a few people to join us to kind of do some of the cat updates. But many of you saw the e-news and the post that went out that we met our match and then some to Tiger-thon because of amazing people like you. So thank you, thank you, thank you for that. This year has been amazing and tough all at once, meaning you guys have come through Catio Town, through Tiger-thon, through everything else, and Give to the Max is just around the corner in November. I can tell you as a director of a nonprofit, it is humbling when people like you support us. It is just amazing the support we see, but we also feel like we're asking the same people all the time for money, and we're always asking for money, and that is a hard thing as a fundraiser and as a director, that it does take money to run the sanctuary and to save lives. And so thank you guys so much for being a part of it. I hope you enjoy. You get to see the happy cats that you make possible with your donations. We don't ever want people to get fatigued by us asking for money or overextend yourselves. So thank you for those that step up, and thank you for those that share posts. Thank you for those that volunteer. There's just so many ways you support us here at the sanctuary, and it means the world to us. So nice to see Amanda, Lisa, Sarah's here, Kendra's here. Hope you guys are having a good day. We are still having wonderful weather here at the sanctuary this week, but it should break tonight, sadly. We have some risk of potential weather, so they are feeding the cats later today so that they can lock them in their indoor buildings, which is part of our extreme weather protocol. And then of course we have staff and interns on site tonight. So some big updates. Sponsors, you will be getting emails today. A lot of this information has just come in all at the same time. So we always want sponsors to know first, but today I do want to share some news. Simba, our new Bobcat boy, had his intake exam last week and was neutered last week. And we noticed upon arrival that he was what we call not sanctuary weight. He was a little thinner than most of our cats, but he, was taken care of really well prior to coming. So it was just was a red flag to us. We also noticed he had really ravenous appetite, but his stool output wasn't as much as what was going in. And so they also did a GI panel during the intake exam and found out that he has pancreatic insufficiency, just like Ripley does and Aurora the caracal. It's just amazing how many cats we see that may have been hand raised from a former pet that have that, and it's hard to know if it was ever caused by early diet or if it's a genetic condition. But the good news is he's going to be on the same medication that Lynx Ripley is, and we should probably see him start putting on weight. He still has a really good appetite, and he will be moving out to a habitat in the near future, so out of quarantine. So we're really excited about that. So thank you. And hi to Faith joined us. I see Tanya. I see Havoc joined us. Thank you guys so much. So I was just giving an update on Simba. Sponsor parents are going to get a detailed email by end of day today with those findings. Kiara, our lovely favorite little sanctuary dog, has the Pyrenees in her, which means she's got multiple dew claws that are acute, but always become a little bit of an issue, especially if dogs are running through the woods or the reeds and things like she is. So she kind of tore one of her dew claws. So she was going to have that removed today, but she avoided the vet one day today just because we had some equipment issues in the hospital that we want serviced. And so Kiara is going to be having her dew claw surgically removed because she's kind of tore it and it's been bothering her. But other than that, she's doing good, though. She knew that I was bringing her, even though she lives and works in the vet hospital here with us. She knew when she was crossing the doors into the hospital that that meant it was her turn, and boy did she shy away from me, and now she's been on with Gina and Lynette most of the day. So our big news today is an update on little Bobcat Jax. And again, if you're a sponsor, you're going to get details of it. But as you guys know, we have been really working hard with specialists, internists, to try and find out what's going on with this little guy. He has been chronic anemic and chronic hypoglycemia, which is low blood sugar. And all of the normal things that can cause that health-wise is anything from insulinoma, which would be really rare in a kitten, to a liver shunt, to so many medical things that can cause that. We also know with his blindness and things and the kind of advanced heart rate he was having is that it could be a taurine deficiency. So that little guy has gone through so much blood work. He's allows us still to draw his blood. He definitely wants a good treat afterwards. He went through the echocardiogram and the thorax x-rays, as you guys know, and that came back good news that it was not a taurine deficiency, which we could have reversed the heart damage if it was, but not his visually impaired. So that was good. We've ruled out insulinoma, we've ruled out liver shunts, we've ruled out anything that we possibly could be causing these low blood sugars. So then we brought him in for an ultrasound on his abdomen, and there we were looking for if there was a tumor or something wrong with the pancreas. That looked good. With GI tract and absorption, that looked pretty good. The liver looked fine, but then we found the spleen, and the spleen looked really irregular and angry. So we had to restrain him, and we are not immobilizing him for these exams because the low blood sugar, he would crash, and he probably wouldn't make or survive anesthesia at this point without a dextrose drip. And so he's been really good with, kind of being handled and bribed with baby food and things to keep him preoccupied. And so during that, he did have a seizure during that ultrasound last week. And so we were able to get him out of the seizure by giving him dextrose in his mouth and on his gums. But it did then confirm that we're having that blood glucose issue again. So they aspirated some cells from the spleen that didn't look good. And originally when they looked under the slides, they were very irregular cells. And so they prepared us that he most likely would have lymphoma, that it would come back positive for lymphoma of the spleen, which was really, really hard for me to accept and everybody else to accept. But we knew we had to wait for the true results because you can't just look under a microscope, and things can really mimic each other medically. So luckily last night we got the news that it was not lymphoma, because lymphoma would have given him probably a 2 to 3 month prognosis. So that was really, really good news. But what it did raise is we still have more questions. So based on all the internists, based on everybody talked about, we have a few more tests that we're going to send out just for confirmation. But it really looks at this time, to not put it in medical terms, I will put it in English terms, is that he has a genetic condition, a gene mutation that affects how he metabolizes insulin, because he's not metabolizing it. So we're going to get this confirmed, but it doesn't mean we can cure him. There's no cure for this. It means we don't know how long he can live this way. We do know that he has been stable since this last week, unless we put him under stress and things like that. So are the seizures stress related? Well, usually when a cat is stress related, their glucose would increase, which would be great if that happened for Jax, because his glucose is so low. But no, the stress just created more of what was going on with his hypoglycemia. So since then, he hasn't had another seizure. He's been playing. He's still getting his 5 meals a day to try and regulate. We are choosing days that we test his glucose just to see if he's on kind of immunosuppressive dose of steroids right now in case that would help anything going on. And so we'll test him early next week. But this looks like this is definitely genetic at this point. It's not reversible. We don't know how well we can maintain it, but at this point, he's kind of on autopilot. He does not know anything's going on. He's to the point he allows us to do a scruff and hold for his blood draw and then goes down and plays like a crazy man. So there isn't much you can do to treat this. It's just his body isn't working the way it should. And so we will get more results even if we rule more things out. Pretty much everybody says this is a medical mystery and stumped, and they're putting in the category of a genetic defect. So he's not diabetic, as I talked about. It's none of those things that you would think. We have about 6 or 7 internists consulting on the case, especially, and so he just didn't get the luck of the draw when it comes to genetic and a genetic mutation. But we hope, because he's stabilized at these medical numbers that are unheard of, should not be stabilized at a 40 blood glucose, resting glucose. He's playing and doing his normal things a kitten would do. So we are trying to figure out next steps. So we can definitely, when we try to feed him more meals and put Caro syrup and all the stuff people are saying, if you have a low blood sugar like a kitten does, it does not spike his blood glucose at all. So that means his body does not process. His insulin is producing fine, but his body is not using it or absorbing it. So yes, this is something that is definitely an issue he has and he was born with. But we love him dearly. We know you love him dearly. He is happy. You've seen some of the videos. And we're going to keep him as happy as long as we can. And we hope it's for years and years and years to come. But this is uncharted territory. We've reached out to other sanctuaries as well. And this is very uncharted territory for everybody. But everybody's confirmed we're doing everything they would have recommended doing. They're stumped by the test results too. So we will keep everybody updated, but no news is usually good news. And we're really trying to give him a few days of break. He's had a lot of medical care, a lot of blood draws, and he deserves to be a kitten for a while. And so we'll give him a kind of a week rest, and then we'll check some levels next week. We also know that the reality is he's a bobcat. And as he grows, he's not gonna allow these blood draws. And we are going to have to be very cautious. He will not be neutered at this time. Very cautious about any type of surgery or putting him under anesthesia that can lower that blood sugar and stress the body anymore. So there's all those concerns in place, but we are enjoying every single moment we have with him, and we're hoping it's for a long time. So good news is he doesn't know all of this is going on. He just knows he gets a lot of treats and a lot of toys when his medical stuff is over. So thank you guys for that. So some more updates. We've had some moves go on, and so sponsors are getting these updates too. Sky and Celine have moved to the permanent enclosures in Cattail Creek, so they're near each other, but as you guys know, they did not want to live together. Benson and Claude have moved mostly to accommodate them getting older and Benson having some old age eyesight issues and things like that. Back to Wildcat Pines. Harley, the little Bengal, we've tried on play dates, and he just decides he's not going to accept anybody after living with Jewel and Andre. So we're looking at maybe possibly moving him to an intern house. We'll see what he likes there. Had a fun moment. Bengals, Tiger, and Max are so ancient and old. These boys just sleep next to each other, curled up together in a cat bed so soundly, pretty much about 90% of the day. They're both 20 years old. So I went in there, they were sound asleep. I walked in, I brought food, I shook treats, still asleep. I picked up little Max like a little cucumber, I always say, and he still didn't move. And Max is a cat that for years was unsocialized to people. So I had to kind of stimulate him to wake him up. He eventually woke up. He's a deep sleeper. We don't think he can hear very well. And he was just then happy to see treats. But these old guys, it's so hard to see them grow old. But at the same time, to see just how peaceful they are and sleeping and have no worries and it was just a really special moment to see both him and Tiger curled up together. Dash and Winona, remember Winona switched enclosures for Winona's back injury or neck injury that she had, and she moved back to her old habitat today. Uneventful move. Whenever we say uneventful, it is a good term, just like when you get a negative test, it's a good term. It means that nothing bad happened. She did it really well. She walked into her crate. Dash hasn't moved yet to where he used to be because we're looking at some pair repools. We have a pool that's draining and it's not supposed to be draining, so we assume there's a broken pipe. We're going to look at it this year and determine if it's best just to wait and fix in the spring since the season's almost over. But then Dash will move back. And we have our VIP event this weekend. So people that, not this weekend, next weekend, sorry, don't want to scare anybody that bought VIP tickets, but next weekend, that we have 50 people that bought tickets and won them at the auction, and get to come spend a huge day here at the sanctuary to see the cats they love, and also spend a nice dinner and cocktails and everything with us. So we're really looking forward to seeing everybody. Tracy's asking if Winona will get her barrels back. Yes, she will definitely eventually get to do that. Kim, sorry, I get the dates wrong. So I might be at the hotel partying this weekend and nobody's there, but no, next week is the VIP event. What other news do we have going on? We're doing some serval play dates to see if we can get another merger with some of our older cats, and if that works, we'll give you an update on that. And then we have some winter moves going on. So Sushi got that wonderful species-specific habitat and the larger bungalow. She is really choosing her bungalow right now. So we do think we are gonna give her access back to indoor-outdoor quarantine for the winter and move her back up so that she has a bigger indoor room. It's just been a big adjustment for her down there with the big cats, the waterfall, and everything else. So we're just the cheetahs are gonna stay where they are for the winter, but Sushi's gonna move back to quarantine. We have Simba, which I talked about, the Bobcat, will be leaving quarantine and going out. Kaya and Bogart and Bobcat Buddy, they're all gonna move around, and most of that's more for giving the older guys some smaller space, the younger guys some bigger space, and things like that. So stay tuned for those updates. It's been heavy on rescues. Many I can't talk about right now, but knowing our TWS family is going to be expanding over the next month or so, I will keep you posted. Our little Scarlet, the serval, I know 6 years ago, it was 6 years ago, that she was rescued by a private owner who also had Bengals. And we agreed to take all the cats at that time. We did not get the Bengals. The Bengals went somewhere else. And what a small world. I got a call this week on those Bengals are not using their litter boxes. They were used for breeders at some point in time, and that they've spayed them now and they just can't get them to stop using the litter box. And so they are saying that they might have to euthanize them. That is the hardest thing for me to hear. But the reality is, we can't say yes to every cat. We sure try, but we already have so many news to tell you in the future, and we just can't take in more than we can care for and give that quality of care. We stretch ourselves whenever possible, but there's sometimes you just have to say no. And I can't let people hold the animals ransom. And I'm not saying this person is doing that. I'm just saying in the past I've had people tell me they're going to get euthanized if you don't take them. And you can't blame me or the sanctuaries or the rescue groups for that. You have to blame the breeders and the people that won't commit to keeping these cats even when they do destroy the house. Because they do destroy homes. And guess what? It's our job as pet parents to be committed and to those animals, no matter how hard it is. We took on, a commitment, and I hope more people will honor it. We also got a call on a young African serval that needed a home, and it was illegally owned. And so we did reach out to another sanctuary that offered space for the serval, and then a second facility became available that was closer for the serval, but all of the three facilities are working together to make sure that serval gets to safety and gets a health certificate to cross state lines and things like that. So that's nice when that collaboration works and we can provide another happy ending for a cat in need. We had a domestic cat that somebody reached out to me, a tomcat in a feral cat colony that was socialized, and this woman's done so much of spaying and neutering and all this and just wants to see this cat go to a home and thought maybe we could have an office cat. But he's an unvetted tomcat and needs some work, so and help, and medical help and behavior help. So we reached out to all of our domestic cat and dog partners, and I will tell you they are overwhelmed right now. But a few of them are trying to find space to accommodate what he's called Big Boy of the group. And so I'm so thankful for the network of people that even want to help the smallest cat and domestic cat that we get a call on. Catio Town update. We're getting closer. I keep saying that the countdown is going to happen. The countdown for when we get the building from the contractors, then the countdown from when the cats move in, and the countdown when we get the big party in the spring. You'll have to wait. You'll get to see some things on Facebook and you know, all our e-newsletters and things like that. But next spring is when all the founding members get to come on site and see Catio Town in person and see all they helped accomplish. So it's getting closer. And then we have some big news coming. It has been busy behind the scenes. So many things are going on that I just don't know. I'm going to burst at the seams if I don't get to share the news. But as always, we wait till things are done, completed, a sure thing, before we share the news, because anything can change in the sanctuary world. So definitely appreciate you guys tuning in, hearing the updates on cats. All you sponsor parents, you will get updates, things, you know, personally today with photos or videos. And I really look forward to seeing Paula, I saw was on here, Kim was on here, I think Daria's on here, all of us to see the VIP event next week. I can tell you, all of us here at TWS need that social break with all of you, and to just spend a day enjoying the cats that we all work so hard for. And then just spending an evening, and as I know Paula and Kim and others have said, it's a Friday happy hour get together, it's a bus ride up to the sanctuary, it's a whole day and lunch at the sanctuary together, then it's a cocktail hour and dinner, and then on Sunday you guys want to do breakfast, and I know some of you have some other plans. So it is a full weekend that we get to spend with so many of you that support us so much, and we're looking really looking forward to it. So see you next week on the weekly wrap-up before I see a lot of you at the VIP event. Have a great rest of your week.